you have to create an experience.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
a part of the experience here is that when you walk in the doors, you're going to hear good music.
Yeah.
You're going to be greeted by good customer service.
Yeah.
You're going to have quality coffee and really good food. And and what you mentioned earlier, like that this location's got some really nice craft beers and wine.
Good morning, Glendora. My name is Taylor Garcia. Thank you for tuning into another episode where we talk to business owners and people in the community that are making a mark. And today I have the pleasure of sitting with Steven Solis from Rev'd Up Coffee. I'm really excited to dive deep into his story and to hear about their shop here. Steven, thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So for the people that don't know you, Steven, share us a little bit, introduce yourself and share a little bit about how you've gotten to be where you are today.
Yep. So my name is Steven Solis. We opened up a location in the city of Claremont, California, about 6.5 years ago now.
Okay.
And we kind of fell into our lap in a way.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like my wife's idea, like, hey, we should open a coffee shop. And
really?
I really had no idea about anything about coffee.
Really?
But we decided that we wanted to go for it once we walked into the location and the space. And we just fell in love with the space. The location was great. Parking was a little tough, but we were like, the location's so good that it justified us doing it.
Yeah.
Then we ended up going into a partnership with Stumptown Coffee Roasters, which we've used since the beginning of the time that we've opened. And I can't talk more highly of a certified B Corporation that they are. That it's amazing. Like their customer service, their willingness to help us learn and train us how to do things right
really
has been amazing. And they just really stand behind their product, which helped take some of the ease off of us in the creating of the coffee,
right,
which allowed us to do a lot more food options. Since we weren't roasting the beans ourselves, we were sourcing the beans from a really good ethically sourced location, being Stumptown. It allowed us to focus more on a food menu that we were able to do, and doing some fun events and stuff like that. So so it's been pretty good. It's been going well.
That's cool, because I can imagine that a coffee shop that is roasted, that's majority of your time is figuring out the roasting and the this and the
and like
the coffee
I said,
side of
and like I
things.
said, coming into it, I had a passion for cars and motorcycles and community and all that stuff. And I didn't have the knowledge of, the coffee. I didn't want to jump in and say, I'm going to start roasting my own beans.
Right.
I'm going to start a coffee shop. It would have been too much. And I'm glad that we ended up going with Stumptown because, like I said, the consistency, our coffee is getting roasted every single week to order in Portland, Oregon, and 2-day aired to us. So every week the coffee's fresh from their headquarters in Portland, Oregon. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I'll place the order on Monday. They're roasting it that afternoon. It's getting shipped down here, 2-day air. So that by Thursday, it's midday, it's here. And
it's fresh.
It's always fresh.
Nice.
And it's always consistent, and no matter what, they always come through for us. So
that's really cool. So talk about, because I think I'm not gonna say most coffee shops, but a lot of coffee shops really only do coffee and maybe some pastries, right?
Yeah.
But you guys do it a little differently.
Yeah.
So talk about your menu and if somebody were to come into one of your shops, what could they see on the menus other than your typical coffee drinks?
Yeah, totally. So some of our most popular items are definitely our breakfast sandwiches, which are made to order. So you're choosing, your bread, your meat, your cheese, and it comes with eggs. We're also making breakfast burritos to order. Nothing's prepackaged. We partner up with Old Town Baking Company out of Alta Loma. They're providing all of our breads and stuff like that. So
nice.
That's been really nice. It's, it's cool. So you're able to get something made fresh, but yet it's fast.
Gotcha.
And you're not having to come in and sit and wait for a server and all that. And you're just able to come.
Where it's like a restaurant or a diner.
Yeah, you're able to come in. Also, our deli sandwiches have been really, really popular. So we're slicing, all the fresh meats, every day to make the sandwiches that day. So prosciutto, pastrami, all of the all of the smoked turkey and smoked ham and the bacon and all that stuff's getting done fresh every single day. So a lot goes into it, and the way we prepare it, so that way we're able to get it out in a fast way. But yeah, it's unbelievable. It's really good.
Yeah.
We're also at this location in Glendora. We're doing an artisan French bread pizza here.
Really?
So we have one that's the Wise Guy, and it's got, yeah, it's pretty good. So it's going to come on a 6-inch French roll. You can get it as a full or half order. And basically what it is we're using the Rouse tomato sauce.
Oh yeah.
And fresh mozzarella. So you're also getting prosciutto and pepperoni on that one. It gets Italian seasoning and mozzarella and roasted red pepper flakes. So that one's been like, oh.
Really?
Every time I smell one of those being cooked, it's torture.
Can I have some of that?
It's absolute torture.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you have the food background, or was it your wife, or who had the idea of like the cooking side of it?
We've both, like, you know, she's got her cooking style and whatnot, and she's amazing, and when she makes something, it's unbelievable. But we really both get into it, and like I found, like, you know, probably, you know, 12 years ago, I started really getting into cooking as well.
Oh, really?
And developed a passion for that, to where, like, you know, I started noticing, like, hey, we're having a party, and like more and more friends are coming over because they know we're going to be like cooking and stuff. So I kind of started to, like, you know, let that evolve, and like, you know, kind of building the menus, and like, I don't know, a theme behind the menu too. It's like, you know, when you're, you know, like for instance, this French bread pizza, it's called the Wise Guy. You know, it's just like, it's an Italian type of a twist on a French bread pizza. So like, we have the taxi driver, which is going to be our pastrami sandwich. We have, like, you know,
oh, that's cool.
We have an Elvis toast, which is going to be your peanut butter and bananas and bacon and honey on it. So that one's very popular as well. So like, it tries to be like a little bit of a theme behind everything that we do, so that we can kind of put a little bit of a twist on it. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, and then I noticed here, talk about it. So you guys also serve beer and wine, right?
Yeah.
Is this the location that does that, or both locations do it? Or?
Yeah, no, we've tried a few times to get that licensing through Claremont, and it just wasn't successful.
No.
So fortunately, when we came to Glendora, we were very straightforward with what our plans were and what we were trying to achieve here. Yeah. And the city's been really, really supportive. Like, really, they've been it's been a pleasure to work with the city of Glendora. Like,
that's
I can't
awesome.
talk more highly about a city that's been able to, like, help us kind of, you know, guide us along the way, and like, you know, show us like, yes, this is what we can do, this is what we can't do. Right. And you know, although there's a lot of paperwork, and as long as you're on top of it and like doing what you got to do, it's been a breeze. Like, I mean, you know, as smooth as I think it could be.
You've worked with city getting all the permit stuff, of course,
and it took us a lot of time. Like, you know, we've been open there for 6.5 years, and like, I'd say after, you know, the pandemic hit, which we stayed open for throughout the entire pandemic, but like, once that hit and stuff, like, we started eventually looking for a second location. And I mean, it took us, you know, we took our time trying to find the exact right location, and like, Glendora seemed like, I think you nailed it. Yeah, oh yeah, this is great. Cool. You know, we do get a lot of motorcycle enthusiasts, and like car community, which Glendora seems to be a great car community, just a great community in general. But with Azusa Canyon and that Glendora Ridge Road, there's some really good motorcycle riding over here. So it's kind of becoming a circuit that people will go to Claremont and get breakfast over there, meet up as a group, and then they'll head up to Mount Baldy and cut over Glendora Ridge Road to GMR.
Okay.
And then they'll drop back down into Glendora and come here for lunch.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's just like, and maybe like, you know,
oh, that's cool.
A craft beer, or a glass of wine or something. You know? And then just relax and kind of take it all in.
That's awesome. No, I was talking to the chamber last couple weeks, and we were talking about you, and he's like, you know what I love is it's brought in some, and you say, some really cool cars and motorcycles to see when you're driving down the street, because you can tell the people that come in here. Yeah. You know, it's a certain. You have a certain audience, which is really great. It's not you're not just that generic coffee shop or a general coffee shop. Like, you really have a like you said, a theme to it, you know.
Yeah, I think that's not enough nowadays to like just open a business and it be there's got to be something special. You have to create it. You have to create an experience.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
a part of the experience here is that when you walk in the doors, you're going to hear good music.
Yeah.
You're going to be greeted by good customer service.
Yeah.
You're going to have quality coffee and really good food. And and what you mentioned earlier, like that this location's got some really nice craft beers and wines. So we have Claremont craft ales. We have Pizza Port, which the Honey Blonde has been very popular on tap. We also have a beer from Victory called the Golden Monkey, which is like a 9.5% Belgian triple. It's been like unbelievable. It's super
really?
good. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
We also have like a Justin Cabernet and some really nice Chardonnays and doing mimosas and stuff. And
really?
That's been nice, yeah.
That's cool.
It's allowed us to be able to extend our hours at this location.
Right.
To where the other location, since we didn't have the beer and wine and the coffee business starts to kind of die down a little bit in the evening.
Right.
Here we're finding a little bit of a niche where we can obviously keep serving espresso and stuff while we're open in these hours, but as that part of the business starts to slow down, the other part of the business is starting to pick up, and it's been nice. Yeah, it's been really nice.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk. I wanted to ask about it because obviously you touched on it. You were a motorcycle car enthusiast and things of that nature. Yeah. You know it right as you walk in. And I've attended. I have buddies of mine that we always connect at the Claremont location. Yeah. We do that probably once a month. We'll meet there and talk business or whatever it is. And that's where I knew you guys when I saw this one opening. I was like, I really hope it's the same because I liked that one. But I really liked the theme because I'm a big car guy. I really like that stuff. The music you play is always like right up my alley. Yeah. So it fits in that. Did you grow up in that, like motorcycle, cars, that kind of stuff, or was this more something you got into later, or? Yeah,
kind of like the backstory is that I started a business where I was doing like color sanding and polishing and stuff on some really high end like vintage cars and exotic cars.
Oh, really?
And I was doing that for probably about 6 years solid, where I'd book out a month ahead of time and just kind of like,
oh really,
pick and choose a little bit of what we were doing. And then my wife, we owned a hair salon there in Claremont.
Okay.
That was near where the Rev'd Up there is.
Yeah.
So she went to beauty school here at Citrus College.
Oh,
got her cosmetology license. And then we ended up getting that salon opened up, and then the salon turned into a great success.
Really?
It was doing really well, and we had told that landlord there that when we had got that salon, that our goal was maybe one day to open, she had an idea that maybe we'll open a coffee shop or something. So as I'm working on cars and motorcycles and stuff like that, and doing my business, she, one day, a couple years after we opened the salon, 2-3 years after we opened the salon, the landlord approached us and said, "Hey, I have a space coming available. You guys have been great tenants here, and we'll see what you could do with it. Want to take a look at it?" And we went and looked at the space, and the space is an awesome, super open, space. So
it is cool.
Yeah, and then I was like, well, we're on Route 66.
Yeah,
I can maybe start to venture out of my comfort zone and get into something, that could be more community driven.
Yeah.
And gosh, yeah, and it's been great. Yeah, so.
Okay, so that makes sense where the car theme came from.
Yeah,
the motorcycle stuff.
Yeah. So I knew more on the car and motorcycle aspect of the business than I did, the coffee part of the business.
Yeah.
So yeah, the first year was a real learning curve for us,
Sure.
figuring things out and kind of dialing it in and building the business. And now, 6.5 years later, I definitely know some really nice latte art technique and how to train employees and stuff, how to do proper coffee service and everything, and food service. But yeah, it was we kind of went into it a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you got to jump in at some point, right?
That's a big part of it, just letting go. And it's, sometimes I feel like it's kind of important too to not give yourself a backup plan.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you give yourself a backup plan, it can kind of set you up for failure, because you have that, wonder well, if it doesn't work out, I could do this. There's never been a moment where success was not the only option. We have 3 small children. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 3-year-old.
Really?
And I have one sister, unfortunately, I lost my parents. So there's not really like a big support there, you know. So like our success, our family's success, is riding on the success of these businesses. So like that's what makes me be a little bit more of a hands-on owner, like where I'm in the store.
That's cool.
You know, there's a good chance if you're at either location, you know, you'll probably see me in a given day there. I'll pop in just to, you know, support the team. The teams that we have at both locations are just unbelievable. They're so good. Like without the team, like we couldn't do any of this. So they're everybody's really stepped up, especially as the second locations opened. I'm noticing like the employees and stuff at the Claremont location have like all like, you know, taken a little bit more of the responsibility upon themselves to like make sure that like, you know, if they notice something's not right, that they'll bring it to my attention. If like, hey Steve, like, you know, I noticed that, you know, we're running a little low on this week. Maybe we'll bulk up a little bit next week on that order or whatnot. You know, like just the little things that have made it like really nice. Like, you know, it's cool to see that they're behind the business and too, they're not just an employee there. Like they're wanting to see it grow, and
that's awesome.
And we try to like bring employees up within the company, like rather than, you know, hiring an outside manager. I'd much rather find an employee that's been taking responsibility and like doing a great job and that have been there for a little bit and like they know the business inside and out. Like I'd rather to bring them up within the company rather than bring in an outside manager and then have like the employees train them how what to do. You know, doesn't make sense. So and it's cool, you know. So they know that there's a lot of room for growth. And I mean, this is our second location now, and we want to focus on making sure that this one runs smooth and that everybody here knows what they're doing and they're confident in what they're doing, so that like, you know, if anybody, you know, has any questions or needs support in any way, like we're here to help guide them along the way, or, you know, I'll jump in. Like the trashes are full, everybody's busy, like I'm grabbing the trash, I'm wiping down the tables, I'll roll the spot sweep. You guys are running low on pastrami. We're selling a ton of pastrami breakfast sandwiches this morning. No problem. I'll go in the back and I'll slice up a bunch for you guys. Like they know that like I'm like very hands-on, like be able to help them out with whatever it is that they need. So it's just like, you know, it's cool.
I think that's really important, and I think to building a good culture and getting everybody behind a mission and that vision is really key. You know? What is one thing, because like, okay, so we have a company here in town, and that's one thing that I've been working on, is making sure that people are, you know, we're all on the same mission together, right? Is there something, maybe one struggle or one thing that you could tip that you could say, like, that you've seen over the years of getting the team behind a mission? Is it meeting regularly? What is something that you've seen that works with, you know, getting the team behind that?
You know, I think every individual is different. And so the best way that you can get a team to come together is to find out what each individual person's goals are. So while I understand that like this is a coffee shop and it's a fun job and it's a great job and there's definitely a lot of room for growth, I may also know that this is probably not going to be your last job that you ever work at. So what is it that you're working towards? Like what is your end goal? Like what, you know, what is it you want to do in life, you know? So like, hey, maybe there's things like once we reach out and like say, hey, like this is what I want, you know, this is my goal. I'm working here and I'm also going to school for this. Well, there's going to be things that we're going to come across in a daily, like, you know, work schedule and stuff that may pertain in some way, shape, or form to that. So like making a way of like touching base, like, hey, like, you know, and it doesn't necessarily need to be in like a really forward way, but like, you know, that's a part of being a business owner, is like being able to like know your employees, like and like touch back, you know, like with what, like this is what they're going for, like I know this is what they're working towards, like maybe there's a way that we can help them get to their next goal, because if that's the case, then, you know, like I want everybody to ever like look back at the end of the day and say like, hey, that was the coolest job I think I've ever had, you know? It's like, you know, and sometimes people don't notice it or realize it until like after down the road or whatnot. Like they've had a couple of other jobs and they're like man, dang, you know, like that was like really cool, like the way we try to run the business and stuff like that. So like, you know, when you do that, and then you can kind of build like a good rapport with the employees and whatnot, then like, you know, they see where you're coming from, like, you know, and like I use it a lot of times is that like, you know, like we have a young family, and it's like, you know, while I want to be able to make sure that I'm here to support you guys and do all the things, at the same time, like they need my support too. So like I'm counting on you guys, you know, so like they are more aligned with what my goals are, and I'm aligned with what their goals are, and then we have like this, organic understanding of like where we want to be at, you know. So,
and I think the key to that, kind of what I'm hearing from you, is that communication, right, with each person on an individual basis and just overall. That's key.
The communication is so big. Like I tell everybody, like there's not a reason that this shouldn't be like your favorite job that you've ever had, because I'm so like wanting to be open, like, hey, like as long as you're being reliable and we can count on you, then you can definitely count on us. Like you're not gonna have to worry about that. So like touching base and just like circling back with employees and stuff is so important. Just like the communication is everything. Like, hey, if you're not happy, like, hey, I need a little bit more hours, or hey, I've got like a bunch of finals coming up, and like I'm a little bit like like
overwhelmed
I'm overwhelmed with it. Like, hey, well, why don't we just talk about it ahead of time? That way we're able to kind of like just work together, like in that way,
Otherwise it builds, and then there's like resentment or something.
And then they're coming into work and like being you never want to have like a toxic work environment. So it's so important that we have a positive, because like customers feed off of that. As soon as you walk in the building, like as soon as you walk in the space, it's like we want that energy to be a positive energy. And this is so important. I always like, that's one of our biggest things, is like we really want like for employees, is just like, I hate when you walk into a place and you get all the way to the counter before somebody's acknowledged that you're even there, So like we have, for instance, we have a motorcycle, a chopper in the front window. We have a green rat. Like it could be a little bit intimidating for some people, Like so I'm like, hey guys, like just a reminder, like we're like kind of like a little bit maybe considered a little bit of an edgier coffee shop. So that first couple of steps to somebody that's new to the space, if you say hi, welcome, when you walk in the door, like
means
like
a lot.
You could literally see a customer's shoulders just like relax.
Oh, hi.
And then they get to like actually take in the space as they're walking in, like, okay, cool, like checking out some cool artwork or some of the architectural stuff that we've done inside of the place. Like we did a pretty extensive build out at both locations, but this one this was an eyelash studio previous to when we got when we took over. And so we it was, when you get a space that wasn't a food facility, you're having to go through a lot of different avenues. So like we go through and we say, okay, we're going to hire an architect and we're going to blueprint this area, and it's Stumptown once again to come in. Hey, they're going to consult with us, like, all right, we got a space, this is what we're looking at. What do you guys suggest for layout as far as flow for coffee, Like, and then they'll come in and like kind of give us their 2 cents, like, this would be cool, like this is how we would like lay it out for you, counter heights, this and that. And at that time we have our general contractor, our architect, Stumptown, and anybody else that's going to be helping with the project at that meeting. Okay,
they're all in on the
everybody's here, so like we're going to lay it out. Then you go through and you get the space blueprinted. Okay, so then you submit your plans to the city. At the same time, you submit to the health department in LA County. Once you do that, you wait. You kind of like wait and to hear back. See, like,
did it get approved?
And it'll be very rare for you to ever get a straight up approval right off the bat. So there's going to be corrections. In this case, they asked us to hire a few different engineers, a structural, a plumbing, and an electrical engineer to stamp off on those blueprints. So then we kind of had to like go and scramble to like find these engineers to look at our plans, and then sometimes they don't want to, like, they want to do their own thing, so so we get them all in, and then we're like, well, hey, this is taking a little bit longer, maybe we should just try to like get our beer and wine license while we're at it.
In the meantime, let's work on something else.
While we're waiting, we can knock this out. So, my wife's extremely good at paperwork.
Oh, is she? Oh, good.
Like, I'm not like that. She's good. Like, she's at the follow through. Like, she's like, gets it on in her mind that she's gonna do something, and she will follow through and like see it through. So like without her, like I could not have done all that stuff.
So, that's awesome.
So she gets all that dialed in, and then we hear back. There's a couple corrections. So we ended up doing all new electrical from the electrical panel. All the wiring's brand new. Took out all the flooring and ground down the floors to do like a polished concrete. We trenched out about 100 feet long, 3 feet wide, and 6 feet down of trenches inside the space to put in all the drains and everything for the floor sinks and run the espresso. Then all the water heaters and plumbing and everything was all run fresh.
Wow.
We installed 2 brand new ADA compliant restrooms.
Okay.
We built a back room. Yeah, what else? We did some really cool, unique custom like counter work, woodworking with the counter. And a lot of people will trip out on like our countertops. It's a polished concrete. So
it does look cool.
Yeah,
really
the way we
unique.
did it is kind of like we formed my buddy Gerald and myself, working with the contractors, we formed the concrete counter top, and we decided, okay, we're gonna have our ice bin here, we're gonna put our espresso machine, so you have to like, as you're going to pour it, you have to like account like for like, there's gonna need to be an opening here, so you're forming everything around, right? Then we pour all the concrete and everything, and it's like, okay, cool, it came out, it worked.
And you did that yourself with
I tried to have
some
like
hands-on
like with all the build out,
That's cool.
So then we did a clear epoxy and all that. I think it's important to be like really hands-on when you're doing the build out, because then like later on down the road, if there were ever to be an issue that were to arise, like exactly where the pipes are running, how the electrical circuits have been laid out, everything. Like inside that place, like I seen exactly and helped with everything, so that like
I didn't even think of that, but you're right.
Troubleshooting wise, structurally, we're planning to be here. I mean, we've mapped out at least 15 years at this location, so we're starting a journey in the community that's going to be awesome. So we'll be here. We're here to stay. So
awesome. That's cool. So you already hear that?
Yeah, all the bikes.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's really cool, and I love to hear that, because just the fact that you put so much into it, like you said, it just shows that you're in it for the long haul. It's not something that's, going to be gone in a year or two,
No, yeah.
But that's really cool to see.
Yeah, when you you're in there, helping dig trenches, and you're there's times where you feel like I may have just destroyed this building. You start to get a little worried, and you're like,
what did I get myself into?
Yeah, it's geez, like, are you sure you really want me to go that deep? All right. We were finding all kinds of cool stuff under the ground too, like, really old like horseshoe, which we have here.
Really?
Yeah, like we saved that. There was like some really cool old like Coca-Cola bottles from like way back. Like we're talking super thick glass, like, and other unique glasses, like different stuff. Like, sometimes it's not necessarily what you want to find when you're digging a trench, it's broken glass or whatnot. But yeah, it's just Yeah, so it was pretty cool.
That is cool. Well, man, Steven, this has been a blast, man, to hear your story and to hear how this is going. And I hope so far, because it's been open, little under a month now?
Almost a month.
Almost a month. And we kind of talked off camera that it's been a really good opening so far, and you've been getting well received. And I hear around the community, everybody's, oh man, have you checked out that? They're like, that's the big black building, And so it's really cool, because it's something different in the town that I think we all were kind of wanting, just something a little different. So it's really cool to see. Yeah,
and we're doing a lot of really fun events too now, like like inside the space, like for instance, like tonight we're doing a trivia night, so we've got a Star Wars and Simpsons trivia tonight.
Oh, that's cool.
We have a lot of like a lot of the employees are actually musicians and stuff too, so they've been performing. So tomorrow night we have quite a few musicians lined up to be playing inside. We're going to be doing like a karaoke night. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so our social media, which is Rev'd Up Coffee on Instagram, has been where you would go to find out about all the information on our events and some of the new menus. Like, we haven't introduced yet quite the seasonal menus, but we will be here shortly for the summertime. We'll release a summer menu. So we do 4 different menus. So we'll have our traditional menu that stays there all the time. And then we'll do a winter, a spring, a fall, and a summer menu, so that there's always something new to try and something else. And then we don't try to like repeat drinks or food items. Like, you'll see it for that summer, and then it'll be gone. We'll come out next summer. We'll come out with a full new summer menu list. So it's cool. It's just to keep things interesting, something different. So it's always changing.
Absolutely. Well, I know you're a busy guy. I want to respect your time. Thank you for being here, and thank you for having the conversation. And anybody that's listening or watching, you know, come by. Whether it's, you know, this is a Glendora channel, so if you haven't, come by this location, or if you're in Claremont, check out the Claremont one, because I've been there. It's awesome spot. They have great food, great coffee, everything. And like you were saying, the people when you walk in, everybody I've ever interacted with is super nice, super cool, very down to earth. It's not you instantly feel welcomed.
Oh yeah.
You know, and even having conversations with you, it's the same feelings, same interaction. So
thank you.
Thank you for doing what you're doing. I am really excited to see this grow, and I'm born and raised here in Glendora, so I am excited to see, you know, something new in town, and I'm over here cheering for you guys.
Yeah, no, the community's been awesome. You've been awesome. I appreciate everybody. Thank you all.
Yeah, no problem. Well, Stephen, it's been a pleasure. We'll catch you guys in the next episodes.
Cheers.
Cheers.